hands down a little bit. All right, so once again, we want to welcome everybody to Queens Public Library. This is part of our Hip Hop 50 celebration. We have two programs today. One is with King Uprock and friends, big up all the original B-boys and B-girls in the building. And then we have Geechie Dan Mixtape presentation with DJ Diamond, the artist. So hang around, it's gonna be a full night and we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna be here all night, but we're gonna have a real good time. I want y'all to make sure you log on to hiphop50.queenslibrary.org, hiphop50.queenslibrary.org. Oh, we have you can scan your phone and you can find out about all the programs that are going on in the area and be part of them. Tomorrow we have Baby J. He has a book from bedroom to Broadway, and he was the DJ at USA Skates. People remember that from back in the days, and also from Roseland. And so his story is incredible, and you need to come check him out. That will be at Langston Hughes Library on Northern Boulevard and 101st Street. So I'm gonna bring out my good friend, King Uprock. This guy is amazing, you know, he works in the schools as well as works with young people for years, you know. And if hip hop is 50, he's been there from 49, 300, you know, and he's been there from before hip hop. Ladies and gentlemen, King Uprock.
Thank you, God bless everyone. I just want to go back a little bit on the history of hip hop, when it wasn't even called hip hop in the 70s. You know, we did disco hustle, we did funk soul, we had punk rock music, we had rock music, regular rock music, we had reggae, R&B, but the DJs today don't get the recognition. You know, I've never had stopped DJing for 50 years, and I never have stopped dancing. My goal was always in the 90s when I saw hip hop was dying, when Dynamic Rockers, Battle Rock Steady, everybody who knows about that's the big breakdancing battle. But there's a dance called the rock dance, which it's been since the late 60s, from the gangs. And from the gangs, we took it to the street. From the street, we took it to the club, and we started having crews, and we used to battle against each other before there was even breakdancing. Popping and locking, that's the West Coast. That's not from New York. A lot of people don't understand that there's a history that they have that's different than us, but it's similar because we dance to certain songs, the funk and the soul. So guys like Maboya, Plummer, Grandmaster Flowers, and then you have also in Queens, the Disco Twins, New Sound, Fantasia, King Charles. There's a whole stack of DJs Brooklyn and Queens was doing. Now, one thing I'm gonna tell you, I was born in the Bronx, but I moved to Bushwick, Brooklyn in 1969 because they were burning the buildings down. Bushwick? Right, so in Bushwick, you know, you have Evil D, you got Tony Touch, all those guys, they watched me when I was in the park, when they were young, and I used to let them get on my set. So Bushwick has a big history on DJs themselves, the Disco Twins, the Disco Stompers, Electrifying Sounds, DJ Amp, which had the biggest sound system back then. He was the most powerful system back then besides Flowers. Flowers was amazing, did amazing things in the beach, took it to the West Indian Parade. And like I said, there's nothing disrespecting the Bronx because they did their thing, but these DJs were there before Kool Herc and those guys. And we have to tell it like it is. I mean, I've been dancing, when I dance up rocking, people say, oh, that's that Brooklyn thing. Yeah, because they only know it's from Brooklyn, but they don't understand that rocking was from Brooklyn. And we didn't call it Brooklyn rock, we call it the rock dance, up rock. That's how we call it. So in the 90s, I started seeing this was a conflict. DJs from Brooklyn and Queens wasn't getting no love. Because I really feel that, I don't care if you're from Staten Island or Manhattan, we're all DJs together, we're all dancers together, we're all graffiti together, and we're all MCs. So what I did was, I saw the art dying out, and I started to bring it back. I was one of the first guys to bring breaking back to New York City. And I have a jam that I've been doing since '93. It's called the Dollar Jam. It's only for $1. I have no sponsors. Everything comes out of my pocket. I teach kids for free on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I have over 300 kids. And that's why breaking is back in New York, because I was the first guy to bring events to New York, because in Europe, everything was happening. They were taking our culture because they loved it, and they was like taking it to, trying to get to the level and take it to another level. So what I did was I said, you know what? I've got a couple old school guys, and we started the Dollar Jam. Now, the Dollar Jam is still happening. I have another event called Kids of New York. It's the same thing almost, the Dollar Jam. And now breakdancing is going to go to the Olympics next year. But, you know, so in 2024, all these countries have all these b-boys going to go against each other. And I think it's, some old school guys are against it. I'm not. Because if it's going to keep the kids off the streets, off of the gangs, off of drugs, I'm there to support that. That's what I'm here for, the kids. It's not about me no more. I did my 50 year. Do I still do it? Yes, I still do it because I love it. And thank God I'm still healthy to do what I have to do. But to tell you the truth, we need to support these youth. The youth is very lost today.
Wow.
It's their loss. You know, and if you have a kid who practices every day breaking, he's not gonna have time to be in the street. I do also in Queensbridge, I do a boxing free class for any age. You come to the projects over there on Ravens Community Center. I'm there Mondays and Thursdays. You don't have to bring anything. They have all the equipment. I do a free boxing, and sometimes I do a martial art because I'm a black belt also.
Young people that could have a 100 celebration whenever that happens. So that's why we're doing this, and that's why these young people are part of King Up Rock's crew and others that come out, and Diva Mom over here, and all the folks that come out and represent. So we ready. Y'all ready on that side? Okay, all right. So I want to bring out Geechie. Geechie, come on out here for a second, right? So, Geechie Dan. So, this is when you see hip hop in the dictionary, this is what it looks like, right? This guy, he got his chain, he got the Adidas on. He's official. He got a Yankee and some kind of just a special glasses that you can't find unless you hip hop. But mixtapes were so important to us in the 80s, really in the 70s too. And I've heard, you know, he's got in my car and played some of those things, and I'm like, wow, and then been able to bless me with a couple. And so the history is what we're all about here at Queens Public Library, is documenting the history. Because if we don't document it, it's just hearsay. It might, hopefully there's a flyer or something else that goes along with that people can look at, but it's important that you have it. You have a recording of it. You have somebody on recording saying it. You have a flyer. It exists somewhere. There were other people more than you that were there when this happened. And Geechie has been able, and just, I don't know how he started this, but I'm going to introduce him and talk about his mixtape collection and why we're here today. So give it up for Geechie Dan.
Thank you, Uncle Ralph. Queens Public Library, thank you. When I was in Atlanta, about 7, 8 years ago, friends would come over, relatives would come over to my home, and would come over and they would say, yo man, how many tapes you got in these boxes? You got boxes of tapes. At that time, I had about 200 to 300 collecting cobwebs and spider webs, and my cousin, Uncle Boogie, he said, you need to do something with these tapes, man. You like, it's like history right here in your room. And I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, you know. And then that was my first confirmation. My second confirmation was Red Alert, DJ Red Alert. I ran into him in Gwinnett County, and I said, hey Red, man, I got all these tapes, man. And he said, if you got all those tapes, brother, just do something. Go ahead and go for yours. Go make it something. Make it happen. I said, second confirmation. Third confirmation was I ran into Frank Ski from V103. He did the song Doodoo Brown, and he had at that time he had the #1 morning show in Atlanta on V103 from 6 in the morning to 10 o'clock in the morning. And I called up to the radio station with him and Wanda Smith, and I spoke to Frank Ski. I said, I got a book that I'm I just published and I want to come up and bless y'all with some of the copies of the book. So I went up to V103 and I had a tape of Franksky as a teenager from Harlem World. It was actually the A side of the Busy Bee Kumo D professional rap contests at Harlem World. And no one had the A side of it. It was the A side was the amateur contest and the B side was the professional contest. So I told him I had the tape of him when he came in second place at Harlem World when he was, I believe he was 15, 16 years old. And he said, Geechie, I've been looking for that tape for 25 years. No one had the tape. Bismarck, he didn't have the tape. Red Alert didn't have the tape. Tape Master B never had, no one had this tape. So I gave it to him and I gave him the CD of it and I gave him an actual tape of it as a Christmas gift. And he said, when you do something with these tapes, man, you need to do something with these tapes, I will help you. 8 years later, here I am on Rock the Bells, Sirius XM Channel 43, with my own show called Planet of the Tapes, where I play snippet of park jams, block parties, live performances, freestyles, clubs like the Q Club, the Encore that was right next door, Amazora, IS-8, Jamaica Roller Dome, Baisley Park, Lincoln Park, 40 Projects Park, Jamaica Park. And when I got passionate, so passionate about having snippets of these tapes when I was a teenager back in 81 and 82, and I wanted to hear the entire tape. I didn't want to hear 10 minutes. I was like, I gotta get the whole tape. And over the years, now I have approximately 1,000 park jams and tapes from Brooklyn and Queens and the Bronx and Uptown from Harlem. And then as I started getting in more into collecting the tapes, I started getting tapes from Ice Cube and Snoop, when Snoop was here in Queens back in 1993, I believe. And, I like to thank the amazing DeWitt, and I like to thank Tape Master B. They helped me. Cutmaster JT right here as well. I want to thank him. JT, thank you, brother. And Grandmaster Vic, another one. One of the first to start the blends, one of Queens' first Grandmasters. Like the brother before me said earlier, what was going on in Queens and in Brooklyn wasn't quite the same that what was going on in the Bronx. But what was going on in Queens, we ultimately got married by 1979, when all the boroughs was doing everything on the same page. What was going on in Queens was going on in Queens and Brooklyn, and what was going on in the Bronx was going on in the Bronx and Harlem, and eventually we all came together. And I say by 1978, late 78, 79, we all became one. Everybody was doing park jams. Everybody was already doing park jams. But the scratching element, the breakdancing, the cutting, all that came together like a pot of gumbo. Somebody from this borough contributed this, somebody from this borough, from this town contributed that, and we got hip hop today.